Strange woman pleading to get in the Uber with me and my girlfriend. 4 years back, I had to move from a major East Coast city in the U.S. to London for work. I had spent over 7 years in this city and was emotionally jolted by this move as I was in a 3-year relationship and lived happily with my then girlfriend. On my last day there, I went with my girlfriend to my favorite sunset spot in the city. It felt like a fitting end to my chapter there, as my girlfriend and I had spent countless evenings walking there, and this spot was truly my happy place. As the sun dipped under the horizon, my girlfriend and I decided to get an Uber back home to spend our last night in our apartment that we had so painstakingly put together. As I ordered the Uber, I realized that I had accidentally ordered it a few blocks away and the cab was just a few miles away. I grabbed my girlfriend's hand and started running towards our cab. While running, I noticed that another woman, short, in her early 30s and well put together, was also running behind us. While running, I joked to my girlfriend that she might have also ordered the cab to the wrong spot. However, we pass a couple of intersections and we are still unable to lose her. At the next intersection, the moment it goes green, I tightly grip my girlfriend's hand to prevent her from sprinting. The woman takes 2 steps ahead and realizes that we are not moving. As she turns back to us, I ask her, "What do you want?" She responds almost immediately that she needs to get in the cab with us because her life is in danger. Her hand is in her purse and she is carrying a bag from T-Mobile in her other hand. Knowing that my girlfriend was going to be alone in that house for a few days after I left, I refused her request. I told her that I am happy to walk her to a safe space or even a police station if needed, but no way in hell was she finding out where my girlfriend lived. She kept on pleading, noting that her life is in danger and everyone is trying to get her. All this while she was looking around for someone in an extremely jerky way. I stood there on the side of the road for a good 10 minutes, refusing her request to come in the Uber with me. To make it crystal clear to her, I even canceled the Uber I had ordered in front of her. Her hand in her purse and the fact that my girlfriend was going to be alone meant that I was in no mood to try my luck. After 10 minutes or so, she agreed to me getting her an Uber on my phone. I asked for her number to check in on her once she arrived, and she removed a new iPhone box with a post-it note from her T-Mobile bag and read the number from the post-it. This was the only time her hand came out of her purse, and she slid it right back in after she read the number out to me. Ultimately, she put her location on a random suburban street by the woods, and I walked her to the Uber. After getting a notification that she had reached, I dropped her a message to ask her if she was okay. I did not hear anything in return. What could explain this strange interaction? Is this some sort of a scam? What was she trying to achieve? Was I being too hard on her? I was just filled with emotions and did not want to put my girlfriend in danger. I was about 14 back then. I had skipped school and decided to go to a mall. This mall was known to have creepy teenagers or men who stalk and hit on girls, and I've had some small experiences there before. But it was 8 a.m. and I didn't think anyone could do that in broad daylight. Well, they did, and since then I haven't been back in that mall alone. I got off the bus and went to the entrance that had a little playground in front of it. I thought it would be safer if there was kids or families around. I sat on a swing and pulled out my phone to pass some time until I could go back home. There was an old lady with her granddaughter on the kids' slide near me, and I for sure felt safe being near them. About 5 minutes of me scrolling on my phone, I heard the voices and screams of teenage boys. I looked up, and in a few seconds, they were running around and causing commotion everywhere. At that moment is when I started to not feel safe anymore because I knew to expect the worst. I knew them, the town and the city knew them. They were not nice people, even though they were teenagers, a little older than me. I stood up to go inside because they started looking at me and sneakily going near me. I thought there would be a crowd big enough inside the mall for them not to follow me around and potentially do something. I went in a store inside the mall to buy myself something and take my mind off of the situation. I didn't hear or see them on the walk to the store or on the walk back where I sat on a couch they had inside the mall. I thought I lost them. I still didn't let myself feel safe, though, not until I was out of there. A minute or two later, I was again scrolling on my phone when I saw them. This time, I didn't wait around. I stood up and walked to the bathroom, which had a huge hall before you reach it. I noticed them following me, and I walked faster. When I reached the girls' bathroom, I went in one of the stalls and stayed there for a full 30 to 40 minutes, just on my phone until I thought it has been long enough for them to give up and leave. I exited the stall and started washing my hands when I saw them. 6 boys peeking inside the girls' bathroom, which had no door. looking right at me and joking around with each other. A couple of them were close enough to be considered basically fully inside the bathroom. I remember hearing one of them saying, "Yeah, I think it's her," or something like that to the other. That's when, while still washing my hands, I was frantically coming up with a plan. Do I just risk it and walk out? Do I call someone to get me? Do I ask someone to walk out with me? I went with the third option. I looked around and there were maybe around 3, 4 women there. The closest one to me was around 40 years old, and she was drying her hands. I had a fight with myself if I should ask her to walk out with me. I decided to do it because I basically had no other safe option. I was shaking at this point, building up the courage to speak. Then I did. "Excuse me, sorry, can I walk out with you?" There's this group of boys who have been following me around almost all morning, and they're waiting outside for me. There was a pause. Thoughts flooded my mind. I shouldn't have asked. She must think I'm insane. But then she agreed. We walked out. I didn't even glance at the direction of the boys. The woman's husband was waiting outside of the bathroom for her. Seeing him made me super relieved, because now the boys would be hesitant to follow me and the woman because there was a man with us. She explained the situation to her husband. I could see he didn't fully believe or understand the situation, but he ended up agreeing to walk out with me and his wife out of the long hallway to the exit while walking. I briefly explained how the boys had been following me, and they seemed to understand. When the end of the long hallway came, they went their way into a store, and I went off to the exit as fast as I could. When I passed the security guard, I felt safer, but not as safe as when I got out of that mall, when I was outside and finally got some fresh air. I realized how panicked I was. I ran to the closest bus stop that was far enough from the mall, if that makes sense. I came home early that day and didn't even care if anyone found out I skipped school. I've been avoiding that mall as much as I can since then. I don't want to think about what would have happened if I were to walk out alone that day, or if I weren't so focused on my surroundings. To the woman and her husband who walked out with me, thank you. So me and my boyfriend like going out dancing on the weekend, which always ends with us stumbling into our favorite pizza place before joining the taxi queue. We've done this most weekends for over a year now, so have become somewhat friendly with the guys who own the pizzeria. They know us by name and always make a big fuss over us and offer us discount every time. I'm not sure how the manager found out about Bill bringing the pizzas to our house, but I informed the manager about everything else that happened that night, how late it was, Bill calling my phone ECT, and manager was furious to say the least. He assured us that he wouldn't be letting him work there again, and my partner and I went on our way and went home. A few months later, we moved house, unrelated to Bill, and never heard from him again, until he showed up one night at our new house. He was delivering food for Uber Eats. I didn't want to take it further because we hadn't heard or seen him in months, so we just left it alone and went about our life. But then, about a month ago, I was going through my message requests on Facebook, and I saw that someone called Bill had been messaging me, or trying to, for months. I went into the messages and clicked his profile, and lo and behold, it was Creepy Bill. I blocked him immediately, and that was when I decided I'd report him on Uber Eats. So I filed a complaint about him, and I haven't heard anything since. But yeah, I have no idea how he found me on Facebook or how he knew my surname, but he did, and tried to message me for months. Now here's where it gets freaky. Last night, a Sunday night, at 11 p.m., my boyfriend and I were in bed because we both had work this morning. My phone started ringing, which was weird for that time of night, and I saw it was an unknown number, so ignored it. Next thing we know, there's someone knocking on the front door. All the lights in the house were off, so we were clearly in bed or not in. I had another call from the same number, and then the person knocking started hammering on the door and flicking the letterbox. My boyfriend got up to answer it, even though I was a bit shaken up, and warned him not to. If I had been alone in the house, I never would have answered. So he goes downstairs to answer the door, and lo and behold, it's one of the guys from the pizzeria holding 2 freshly cooked pizzas that we didn't order. He said not to tell the other guys at the shop, but they were a gift from him to us, his favorite customers. My boyfriend took them from him and thanked him, but we couldn't get back to sleep for hours. We just felt so odd about it. We have ordered from there once for a takeaway, so that's clearly how he got our address and my phone number, but it's still weird, right? After the night, the guy, I'll call him Bill for now, turned up at our house. Me and my partner went out for drinks a couple weeks later and ended up in the pizza shop. We noticed immediately that Bill wasn't there, and I assumed that he was out on a delivery instead. Before we left, though, the manager came out of the back and said hello, and then apologized profusely about Bill's behavior and told us that he fired him. He was very thankful that we weren't boycotting the place, and I assured him we wouldn't because it really was the best pizza around.